You are going through an awakening. You are growing your invisible embryo called your biofield or your torus field. You may come to some answers that other people are coming to. You may have answers that other people don't agree with. You might question yourself. You might be feeling crazy. You might not care. Maybe you want to be a little crazy because maybe you're tired of seeing the world as it is, an ordinary world, and a world that doesn't seem to stop all the fussing and fighting and mediocre things that occur here. Maybe you want to change things, and maybe jumping off a cliff and stepping out of the alignment of the program called Our Mind is the recipe for disaster, chaos, but maybe that is what some of us came here to do, is to crack out of a program called Our Mind and realize some things about ourselves that we didn't know about, like, that we're really nothing and yet everything, that our consciousness can change, that memory is all that really makes us our personality. Without our memory, we're still that consciousness, that invisible mirror consciousness, either mirroring jerks or jewels. And maybe this awakening is growing you to such a degree that you really are going to shift one day your consciousness into the body of a higher self, and that maybe we should believe in transcendence and leave the world of suffering into the world of abundance. And this doesn't mean material possessions, but abundance of knowledge, abundance of support, abundance of just being happy, really. My name is Mary Moses. Welcome to Forest Fairy. You are in the forest part of Forest Fairy. We have Saul over here. We have our double dodecahedron here. We have our tall, 8-foot tall tree women here. We have our Wizard of Oz, Mad Hatter female over here standing by. We've got our grandpa and our angels and all kinds of art. And all of these are prayers because your actions are a prayer. We're going to begin by doing a reading for Carol. I believe Carol lives in the United Kingdom. I'm a little bit miffed because the last time I did a reading was for someone named Jeanette. And one of you guys pretended to be her when she really forgot to show up. And so y'all were like, somebody said, I'm Jeanette. And so I ended up reading for someone on here who lied. And so I get a little bit, as an oracle, I'm a fragile piece of glass. And so, there's a lot of things that I love to share with you guys. I love to do, but it's just like one little thing. And people, being jerks. And this woman, didn't get her reading. She forgot, which is fine or whatever. But I ended up spending an entire hour reading for someone that wasn't for her, and it was for a paid reading. So what I'm going to do is since she missed her reading, I'm just going to go. So if you guys pay for a reading and you don't come here at 2:00 p.m. Central like you paid for, I'm just going, okay? Because I'm going to go with spirit. That way I'm not worried about, and I'm not thinking about how miffed I am at jerks pretending to be someone and lying to me. It's just like, come on, human beings. It's time to stop lying. It's time to start being authentic. It's time to stop with the rudeness. It's time to stop with jealousy and with playing games. It's so time to step into your adepthood and to awaken to the voice of the invisible ones. They're very, very powerful beings. They don't have time for misfits. You'll get put on Misfit Island. Yes, you will. You'll get put on in a jerk world. So, this awakening is about adepthood, and it's time to step into our adepthood and take these words seriously, even though I act like a child sometimes and we play little games and we laugh and we do the Wizard of Oz stuff. There is a very serious tone to my voice because there are boats and y'all can miss it. There are trains and y'all can miss it. There are realities that are really awesome, and they are looking for candidates who are initiates who are willing to be honest and authentic and on time and thoughtful and respectful. Okay, no more time for little jerks running around. Okay, so here's Miss Mary being, you can call me Miss Hannigan. Just say, yes, Miss Hannigan. We love you, Miss Hannigan. I'll play mean mommy with you guys, okay? I'll be mean for a minute, but then we'll play and I'll be nice to you, okay? I used to do that with my daughter. I would say, do you want me to play mean mommy or nice mommy? Sometimes she was in the mood to play mean mommy, and I would catch her in a spider web and pretend that I was a spider in a blanket, or I would put her in a little jail and say, you're in jail, and she would laugh, and it was all that. But mean mommy is fun too, and serious. So let's begin with Carol, and thank you for being here. I am an oracle. I do an ancient art technique known as scrying. I've been doing it for over 15, 16 years. For TikTok, I've been doing it for 6 years. This is my second account. My first account was blocked. So you can go look at my first account. You can look at the second account. If you are here, you may be led here by your higher self to hear something that will help to basically feed your spirit. There are food, words of and food that you can grow your mental inventory of what is happening. What is happening? Like, what is happening to humanity? What is happening to this world? Why are things feeling so strange? And the answers are here. It does take a minute to kind of see them, but I do scrying, and scrying brings about many things. Ancient Lemurians show up in this art. King Solomon has shown up in this art. Akhenaten has shown up. Moses has shown up. His name is Ted. Mary Magdalene has shown up. Jesus has shown up. They all come up and talk through you to tell you something. And it's awesome. And you don't have to trust anything I say. My job is to turn you guys into hearing the voice of your higher self so that you are not ignorant and polarized to this world, polarized to the written word, and so that you can hear the unwritten word and you won't need me anymore. Because I never ever want to start a cult or a church or anything where y'all are like, Mary's the best, we're going to follow Mary. No, you follow your inner self. I'm just the mommy giving you information so that you can take your wings and fly yourself. And that way you can go and help other people if you want to, but make sure that you always tell people that the answer is within them, not outside of themselves, because that's not true. Everyone has the ability to hear a higher self within them. You just have to dig deep and find that little spark of light and grow it. So what I'm going to do for Carol first is I'm going to pick a card. And this is peace. And this is a peace lily. And peace is, the vibe I get from this is, some people operate better with certain elements. Like if you're a fire element, your best way of working your magic or your power is through music, dance, doing things kind of extreme, like hot and cold. And some people, their power comes from the joy of a child, laughing, giggling, kind of air energy. And then some people are more like still waters. And this is peace. So your power may come from the littlest things, gentle things. And so this is the number 42. And we're going to anoint your peace. The Wizard of Oz is an allegory that is parallels with your ascension, basically. So the red shoes, the green emerald city, and the blue bird that flies over the colors of the rainbow is your biofield. And your biofield needs 3 rings of power in order to operate properly. Otherwise, you are a bitten apple, and your biofield does look like a bitten apple, and a bitten apple is something that was stolen from you. Let's return your 3rd ring of power by clicking your heels 3 times. Mwah. Love you, Glenda. Glenda reflects the Corona Borealis. We're going to activate the heart of a child at this moment, and we're going to get in our treasure box, and we're going to sing a song for Carol. Let me get my voice. Voice, where are you? I'm right here. Oh, there you are. Someday I'll wish upon a star. A little bug flew out. Look, a little butterfly flew out. Where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops, that's where you find me. So Carol, you're a key. You have an emerald ring. You have 3 key rings. My. In order for you to activate you as a key on this earth, to activate the golden age of Aquarius, you will have to learn to transmute other people's jerk energy. You take their jerk energy, you turn it into a joke. So take somebody who did something jerky, turn it into a joke, laugh about it, aha, and then don't think about them again. Put them in the fire of no remembering them again. Don't be angry, nothing. You turn jerk into joke. And so this green color is really important for you today. You're this emerald, and emerald may be your color. 3 key rings. This is 3 rings of power, key rings. Carol, let's anoint your piece. Blue Lotus essential oil is what I'm vibing with right now. It has really great power. A healthy human resonates between 70 and 100 hertz frequency. If you have a diminished immune system, if your immune system is compromised, you may go down to 60 hertz in frequency. So many gurus, masters, and even skywalkers often wear cloaks of linen because linen emits 5,000 hertz frequency. It takes all illness and raises it up to life energy. Many people often wear rose essential oil because rose has the highest frequency of any essential oil, has over 320 hertz frequency. Frankincense has 147 hertz frequency. When you think in terms of frequency, you will begin to realize how to feed your spirit, how to activate your biofield, and how to not be trapped by the many traps of this current reality. And there are traps, my precious, many. Right, Dorothy? Yeah, I'm trapped in the looking glass right now. Oh, you are? But I love your pretty little blue dress with the pretty little bluebird. Why don't you stand over here and watch us do Carol's piece? And we're going to hear what Spirit has to say. Thank you, Spirit, for showing us your divine and immortal and eternal knowledge through me to show Carol exactly who Carol is and what Carol needs to know today. Sometimes your deceased loved ones show up. Sometimes masters show up. Sometimes they show you what you're meant to do here. Sometimes they talk about your physical life, and sometimes they only talk about your spirit life. I don't have control. So just trust in the process, and here we go. I always like to hear a song too because it parallels with your vibe and your energy. So here we go. Is it getting better? Or do you feel the same? Would it make it easier on you now? You got someone to blame. You say, one love, one life. When it's one need in the night. One love, you get to share it. I'll leave you, baby, if you don't care for it. You have somebody coming and saying hello to you. All right. Spirit says I'm going to do 2 pieces for you. There's much to say to you. Someone to the left, you have a vampire, strange dude that looks really old, like an immortal being, somebody who lives forever. Down here, writing or looking at a piece of paper, wanting to send you a message, like somebody who is immortal. And there's a young girl here. She's precious. She's sacred. She's precious. She's like glass. She has to be kept safe. They say she's precious. There's a God up here also. They are doing something. They have you are in a protected area. I always talk out loud, but I could be wrong about something I'm about to say. And there's things happening that is like, I don't mean to say this. I just want to give you a heads up. Take this for entertainment only. Disclaimer. 2, I could be wrong. 3, I don't know if something happened in the past. There's somebody who passed away here, and I'm going to tell you something that's just temporary. I just have a hard time saying this because I'm not sure I even believe it. I was shown on the spirit realm that I died and that my consciousness went to a parallel reality. Well, there's this person laying here on a bed, and they passed away, and then their consciousness went into like a Stargate, some kind of technology, and then they were zapped into a parallel body. But there was a covert being who is manipulating the mind here of someone laying here. It seems like they're I don't want to say that they're alien to us, but they are beings, and I don't know what they're doing here. I see a lot of negativity right here of maybe we as humans don't know things are happening to us like a thief in the night, and it scares us, and so we demonize it and turn it into something ugly, because I'm just going to show you what I see. So I see a person here. They are in a bed. All right. They're like this. There's a cat with black eyes. This is the cat eye. Whenever we're talking about the cat eye, this is somebody who sees but humans don't see. To have the cat eye is to say that a being is near you who sees something that you don't see. All right. Now this person is in a bed like this. And this is the bed. And then there's this being on top. And so the way that spirits talk is not like humans. What they're doing, they have a divination thing here. And there's gates that are opening up, or there's gates. These are realities here over your head. So I don't know if this is your head. I'm just saying that our mind is stuck in a reality called gates. And it's a train conductor being. I know what these train conductors, I know what they are. we call them in our English language train conductors, but they are people who take us to different dimensions mentally, and we don't even know it. So this is a being that is shape-shifting right in front of me. At first it looked like an alien. Then it looks like somebody who is putting people on a train, on a dimension. They're seated at a table, and they're being there's a little tiny being with a crown. There's a throne. It's a woman on a throne. It's a being here. This is a person. You can only see half of them. When I first saw this person on the bed, they were being eaten. Now, to be eaten by an animal means that you've entered into the halls of a new God, a new reality. So, when Jesus said, "Drink my blood and eat my flesh," it represented that we were in the body of Christ, that he was a place, not just a person. Turn over a stone, cut a piece of wood, and there I am. Well, if you're not in the body of Christ anymore, then you're in the body of another animal or another. And so this is about a technology that we are unaware of, about our consciousness being manipulated, our consciousness being put into a new gate or hall. So let's just leave it at that, because we're going to continue looking a little bit further here. So there's a little glass jar, and inside this little glass jar is a little fairy, almost like Tinkerbell, stuck in the little glass jar. And she has cute little wings, and she's stuck in the jar. All right. Let's communicate with this being. This being is a place also. There's castles on their head. They have turned into a place, not a person. They are an ascended master. Many masters turn into places, not people. You can read it time and time again, how these masters end up becoming a place, not a person, and they can manifest at will. And then you have this very long coned dude, like a wizard-looking man here, and everyone's wearing cloaks. Everyone has these cloaks on. And wands. And bells. And a place with lots of buildings and lots of bells. It reminds me of Rome or Paris or somewhere. It's a place that rings a bell, and the bell itself makes a very loud noise, and it does something to their reality. It's like it does something, and then she's holding a wand here like this. And so Carol, you're in the eye of the needle, and you're being taught not to get caught in the net. So here are symbols of the icosahedron opened up. This is a net, And this is you learning to stay in the eye of the needle, because it looks to me like everything outside of the eye of the needle is a trap, is a manipulation of the mind. It looks to me like you should be focused on learning from the voice of your higher self. And there's lightning striking someone in the head here. And then that Holy Grail looking thing has a fairy trapped in there. That's the part I don't understand yet. So you could see that this is a grid over your reality. And it's a trap. And the only way to get out of this trap, and there's a dead fish here, this would reflect that we left the age of Pisces is dead. Then we went through soul sickness. Soul sickness manifested as real sickness. And we were learning from the cat. And our consciousness went into another gate. We don't even know it. And there were many. There's a female seated on the throne. We've left a patriarch and gone to a matriarch. And there are people stuck in the trap of this net. Anger is trapped here. There's anger here. And this person is stuck behind this trap. And Pinocchio-looking people, low self-worth, all kinds of emotional things that have reptilian. There's a reptilian up here, like an alligator. And whenever I see an alligator, it's somebody who can't hear God. If you don't hear your higher self, you don't know how to resolve your anger. You don't know how to heal your past. You don't know how to untrap pieces of yourself. You have no idea. So I'm going to do a second piece, but it looks to me that in order to untrap yourself and to untrap the divine feminine within you, and to hear the voice of your higher self and to not get caught in this, is to stay in the eye of the needle. And the eye of the needle is wearing a cloak of invisibility. So I'm going to tell you about this, and then I'm actually going to anoint you and untrap you from something that seems to be some sort of mind control. I don't know what it is. Like, let's say that there's a belief that the more you're on social media, the more they trap your mind and connect your mind to something that is false, because the Tinkerbell represents Lucifer. It's Lucifer technology. So it goes like this. Peter Pan represents the pan flute, which is the wind, who gets windy out of the window. Now, if you're in the net, you are in the dog. So here's the dog, and the dog is the inversion of God, someone who doesn't hear God, therefore they can't come out of time. But once you heal the 7 chakras, like the 7 windows, you go to a celestial school. Here's the glasses, here's the hat. Here's somebody in a celestial school. Now, this being is called Bahram from Iran. It's a Christ-like being that is a mirror of Christ that is here to help many of us to become oracles. And this is where the teddy bear comes in. And this is the fire energy, and we have to have 3 rings of power in order to fly our consciousness out of our body or out of time. But the Tinkerbell is the Lucifer technology, and the Lucifer technology is 2 towers, 2 rings of power. It bounces your consciousness from one reality to the other. So consciousness is simply you're nothing and everything, no one and everyone. The only thing that holds us in these bodies are our memories. And so if your consciousness flies out of your body like a thief in the night, and you get put into a parallel body, and then all of a sudden, instantly you gain all their memories, and you feel like you lived in that body all that time because of the memories, then there's some kind of technology that goes on that we have no clue. And the only way to see what's actually happening to us as a collective consciousness is to not believe in the lies. And so why Tinkerbell is called the false light, I'm not really sure, but it is a inferior light to God. So it's a Tinkerbell. It's a Lucifer technology. And I've never met Lucifer. I don't even know if Lucifer exists, but that's what they call it. It's just a false light. Well, anyway, to get trapped in this, in the age of Pisces, is to be stuck in the net. And the only way out of the net is the eye of the needle. And there seems to be a divine feminine who wants us to go to a world that is free and that is powerful, that is peaceful, and that everything outside of this here is a trap. So there's something about not being trapped at this time. So let's talk about this because it's very important. Now, you were born in the moon. Now, the god of the moon is called Sin. You can call him El or Yah. And this means darkness and ignorance, and we were asleep. Some people would even say that we were dead. Then you become born again through the earth. Some people call it Gaia. Yah it is a place that dominates the moon. It's not the light because the earth doesn't produce its own light. It is a mirror. And you're 75% water and the earth is 75% water. So really all you are is a mirror. Now you're going to either mirror a program that is a false matrix, or one day you're going to mirror the sun. All of these pieces are you outside of yourself, and you have to go through an awakening to bring the sun energy down on the moon and the earth and set fire to all three of them, called the baptism of water, the baptism of fire, but you could also call it protons, neutrons, and electrons. Now the god El is the god of the moon, but he changes because he's an elemental god. So it is rock, water, sun, and the elements is fire, water, earth, all that. And he is connected to electricity, Aleph, and the infinite one that changes like a clock. Well, after you are in this place, there are so many traps here, but you have to realize that you are the moon, you are the earth, and you're also a trinity, which is the sun. But many people never get out of duality. So you're the one stuck in duality. You're stuck in 12 hours, 12 months, 12 zodiac signs. And it's really, the top part of your biofield is called the arc. So the true story of Noah and the ark, that you can only enter 2 by 2, is your biofield that looks like an apple. All right. So your apple was bitten. Who ate your apple? Well, according to many mythologies, Fenrir eats the sun. It is your halo. It is your crown. It is your power, basically, was eaten from you. You can look at the golden compass. This looks like a compass that is opened, and the children's animals were cut from them. It's a very true story. It's very true. Mithra killed the bull, which was his animal, was cut from him, and the bull turned into the moon. So what this means is that when we are an apple, we are like slaves to time, and we have no power. We can only experience this reality. We can't actually do anything about it. So the Trinity is a very complex system. It's like a clock, though. So here you are in Noah's Ark, the boat. The first thing that happens is here's the eye of the needle. This is where you are. In the eye of the needle, at first, it is pointed down because your consciousness awakens through this eye behind the eyes of a body that is mostly water, okay? It's called the flood. It doesn't mean that there's actual literal flood in the earth. It means that your consciousness has been flooded by water. So it'll point down at the 6 o'clock position. And your biofield it goes through a clock of time that's commanded by 11. So the number of the sun is always connected to the number 11, electricity, and the elements, and the god El. And the sun flips its magnetic polarity every 11 years. So it doesn't mean that you're going to flip every 11 years, but it means that you're going to start to turn and awaken like this here. So At first, you're at the 11 o'clock position. You're in the baptism of water. Then this turns invisibly to this. And this shape is a boat that floats on water. It is an eye. It is also the belly of the whale. So this is a place where flesh begins to realize that there's an invisible spirit that makes them a born-again double self. And there's a lot of anger, a lot of chaos that occurs here because we didn't know. All right, so this turns into the fish, but it's a boat that floats on water. So now we're at the 22 mark where the sun flips every 11 years. Then you go to this position up here like this, but instead of this pointed down, this is pointed up at 12 o'clock position, and this is fire. Here, you'll go experience burning away of all that is false within you. And you will burn away the programming, everything that your flesh had to do here, it burns away. Relationships, your diet, everything begins to become holy because you're going to learn to feed your spirit. There's a lot of awakenings here, and many people fail at this precipice because they don't want to change their diet. They don't want to end their relationships. They don't want to do the will of God. So they fall right back down again. And so this is the 33 mark. This is where Jesus died at 33. It's a deathless death. Basically, the fire burns away almost everything that you are, and all that's left is your inner child, your joy, and some things that you hold on to. Then at 40 days and 40 nights, you go back to this position, and here is where something happens. This is the number 8, and this is the baptism of water meets the baptism of fire, and suddenly you go through a divine marriage of flesh and spirit, and suddenly, bada bing, bada boom, invisibly, the sun descends down upon your biofield, activating you with a holy fire of the Holy Spirit, which is blue. It's an eternal, sweet, peaceful flame, which gives you eternal life. Your consciousness, anyway. So electrons are the only elements that live forever. Protons and neutrons decay and die. Electrons live forever. You need that Holy Spirit. You need that electron energy to set fire within you. And this fire helps you to become invisible, to become a Skywalker, to become an oracle, to become a prophet. But it is a process. Oh, thank you so much for the gift. Thank you. So when you are in the Lucifer 2 tower system, you are dealing with a technology that most masters know about. So in 2001, the sun was flipping its magnetic polarity. And 9/11 equals 11. And the 2 towers in New York City was right by the Statue of Liberty that is celebrated on 7/4, which equals 11. And the 2 towers looks like the number 11. Standing in front of a body of water that made another 11. And this represented that we were collectively going through that 22 phase, many of us. This is 22, 11, 11. And it represented water. The baptism of water is meeting the baptism of fire. And it manifested outside of ourselves as a tragedy. Whether it was actually meant to be or not at that time, it was, well, if you look at the 1976 album, the Supertramp album, a woman is holding the 2 towers, and the letter U is cut off, and the P, it says Supertramp. It actually says 9/11 there on the thing. So I think that this is a program, and it was meant to create a shift of sorts. So the Statue of Liberty is the soul, which is the sun, and it's called the Eye of Ra, or the Eye of the Sun. And then the twin of the Statue of Liberty is called the Eiffel Tower. It's the eye that fell, so that it has a half of an eye in front of a body of water. It's an eye that fell. And so when your consciousness falls, you go to a pair of eyes, Paris. Paradise, take the word die out of paradise, it's Paris. So it's a 2-tower system. It's a high-tech cloning system, which takes your consciousness from one body to the next. Now, I've actually witnessed this on the spirit realm. My best friend's son outed himself with a gun. And what I saw was that he woke up in Paris. And then I did some readings where I asked somebody's mother where she was, and she said, oh, darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue. And I was like, oh, New York. But then she said, Paradise. And I was like, Paradise. And then it was like Paris. And then I realized, oh my gosh, okay, this is a 2-tower system. But there is a third tower. And it's not the 2 towers that fell. It is the Statue of Liberty. And it is connected to an androgynous god. Now, the god El is considered an androgynous god, both male and female, meaning that it's neither male nor female. It is just consciousness that is the infinite one. And so they call him Aleph, but he comes to me as LF, an elf. So Tinkerbell is an elf, and Aleph is the infinite one God. And this Aleph God is opening gates at this time of truth. And when it says that we were stuck in lies, in a prison, basically enslaved in our own bodies, and God did that to us because God can awaken us if he wants to, right? And it's as if God himself was stuck in a jar, because when you see a little elf, it's like stuck or whatever. It was the false Lucifer light, or the false God, or you could say the God that God changes, because think about how God regretted the flood. So this means God regretted himself. You know, how can you regret something like that? But so God was El, the moon, and then electricity, which is our physical body, and then the element of air, which is windy and window energy. And so this elemental God changes. So his name is Aleph, like an elf, LF, and it is opening gates to take us from the dog, which is the inverted reality. The curse of Cain is the canine, to take us out of a 2-tower system of a high-tech cloning weird system to being able to maintain consciousness, which is the cat. Now, the cat is Hecate, the three-faced goddess. It is the cat. It is 9 lives. It is immortality. So we're going from the male electric version to magnetism, and this is Mary Magdalene with magnetism. And who is that third tower? Mary Magdalene. Magdalene means tower. Magdalene means tower. And it is a place called 13, because 13 dominates 12. It means that it floats on water, the master that walks on water. Mary Magdalene has 13 letters in her name. So basically, Mary Magdalene is here saying there is a Lucifer technology that keeps us stuck here. There is a net and a grid which takes our luminous ethereal net and tears it to shreds and binds our energy to other people's energy, and we suffer the consequences of everyone else when it was never our consequence to suffer. That's how this works. Contracts, all these things keep us trapped in a net. And then here comes the divine feminine on a throne saying, I'm magnetism. The Zeus god, maybe it's Jesus, I don't know. The Zeus god was a jerk. And so we are moving away from being polarized by male or female to the eye of the needle, which is both male and female spiritually, not literally, spiritually, androgynous, eye of the needle, balance. It is what Jesus always said is Mary, Joseph, Jesus, 3 wise men, 3 gifts, the 3 crosses. Jesus was always the center cross. It is about balance. And so now we're going to do your second piece, because I see that you are being told that you must maintain 0-point energy. Do not project your personality upon the masses of this world. Do not be triggered. Do not be polarized by the 2 poles. You must surrender all that you are and say, I'm going to do the will of my higher self, and grow through that body through balance of the 4 elements, which is the cross. And I am not going to allow Lucifer technology, any other thing, illness, anything, and realize that we are moving into a world of miracles. So faith may have a lot to do with it, and make sure that you have a pretty good amount of faith in magic, pretty good amount of faith in miracles, and know that we are going to this golden age and it is happening. We just can't, at this time, when you go to that world, you cannot be trapped by the reptilian energy. You cannot allow your mind to be polarized into the gatekeepers, into the ones who are trying to catch you, really, like a fish in a net. So, I don't know if you know this, but Jesus said, let us be fishermen and let's catch men. Let's be fishermen of men. And I don't know if you know this, but the Egyptians have a secret group. Oh, thank you so much, Ika. A secret group called Masters of the Net. They're called Carriers of the Flame. Statue of Liberty is a carrier of the flame. And what they are they are immortal and they do the will of God. Now, many people demonize them. The jerks demonize them and say, oh, they're evil, they're evil. Maybe some of them took some of their symbologies and they are evil. I don't know. But the master of the net is someone who does the will of God and they don't get trapped by the Luciferian two-tower system. And so let's look and see what your gift is, because I see that you are being told by the Mary Magdalene Tower to stay in the third tower, which is electrons, which is immortal life. And that's called the eye of the needle. But I'm going to look and see what you are growing through and to be gifted. But at first and foremost, the spirits want to say, do not get stuck in the trap. Because I'll say one more thing. And that is, oh, there's my book. Hold on. Your ethereal net is the luminosity that surrounds your physical body. It gets torn to shreds during daily living. You can bind your ethereal net with somebody who does not do the will of God, and suddenly you're suffering the physical laws. And if you don't want to suffer physical laws and you want to not be detained by the dark ones, then you have to know how to maintain 0-point energy. You have to know how to be invisible. So huge portions of your ethereal net can become lost or entwined in other people's bands of energy. And if you lose too much of your vital force, you can become ill or die. So you have to learn to recapitulate and use breathing techniques in order to repair your ethereal net, in order to strengthen it to the point where you are not bound to physical laws, which is time. You want to come out of District 12 where nothing is in your favor. Your double can do great and mighty things. What can it do? Anything we want it to do. It can jump over trees, fly through the air, become large or small, take the shape of an animal. It can become aware of other people's thoughts, become a thought, hurl itself in an instant over vast distances. It can even act like you. If you know how to use it, you can appear in front of someone and talk to them as if you were really there. I do it all the time. Many of you guys say you saw me and I came to you and I look like me. But that's what your double does. And that's how Jesus was able to talk to his disciples. You have a double. And your double is very, very powerful. You have to get it back. How do you activate your double? If you let go of your physical body and allow your double to take over, if your awareness is tied to your double and not this world, not your emotions, not addictions, nothing like that, you will not be affected by the laws of this physical reality. However, and you will be governed by ethereal forces, which makes you powerful, okay? But as long as your awareness is tied to this physical, mundane reality, your movements will be limited by gravity and other constraints. So basically, it's the scripture, seek first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you, basically like that. Let's see what you're meant to do here. Besides not being trapped in the net at this time, how do you get trapped? Being emotionally distraught, thinking about a jerk down the street, worrying about the jerk who's supposed to love you and they don't. Your biofield will get connected to theirs and you'll suffer their consequences instead of receiving the power that your higher self wants you to receive. It's like you're selling yourself to a jerky human or a reptilian. We don't fight flesh and blood. You're probably selling it to Archon or a reptilian. So it gets tricky. So the big bad wolf is always wanting to eat that third ring of power because Fenrir eats the sun, which is your halo technology, which is your electrons, which is your immortality, which is your crown. And so the wolf, the big bad wolf, will come to you as grandma. What big eyes you have. Yes. And so the 3 piggies, your 3 houses must be strong. These are your 3 rings of power. And now we're going to look at you and see what you're meant to do here. I don't know why, but in my mind, I saw you as the keeper of boxes or keys or boxes in my mind before I even began. Again, you're in a net. Again. So you may be an ancient one who was somebody who was able to escape these nets. Again, you're in the exact same position as you were. Strange. And almost exactly the same scenario. But I'm going to ask them to show me a bit more about your energy and what you're here to do. Again, there is the cloaked wizard. There's a lot of similar symbols. I'm going to give myself a moment to look. But you're definitely in this eye of the needle again. And looking like a fragile being, very fragile. But this time you have a peacock in front of you. And this is about a fragile spirit. You have a squatting person. There's gods, flying angels looking at books. Whenever I see someone with a book open, it means a soul trapped in duality. 2 sides to the book. There's a boy here or a man here. He is giving the body language of throwing something away or putting another. It is almost seems like, okay, it's a marriage. It's a divine marriage. See, you got the traps again. They look like fish. It's the net. A Dagon, the fish god. Right here with all these fish. And let me just show you again. Here you are again. And you're a fragile, sweet little thing. And you're in a diamond this time. There's somebody who has a number 8 above your head. And there's a man here. He has a book on his head. He's polarized by the written word. He does not hear the unwritten word. There are going to be people who are going to try to trap your brain by telling you that you should obey the written word. And that's not true. What is the purpose of the Holy Spirit of truth if all of your answers come from a book? You're actually going to be able to hear answers for yourself that do not come from a book. Do not let these people tell you that you're thinking wrong, you're doing wrong, because it doesn't come from a book. You will get trapped like a fish in the net. Don't do that. So you are here to create new worlds. You're here to actually activate that new world. You're actually holding it in your hand. You have a beautiful, you remind me of Mother Mary. You have a gentle, fragile mother, and you have a shield over your stomach, like this. And no, you are an Vesica Piscis again. This is the symbol of Mary. There's this boy here, and he's very happy and is happy for you, giving you really a halo technology. and a rabbit. Oh, I know what this is. This rabbit looks like Donnie Darko. This is about time travel. So this person's saying, oh, remember the rabbit from Donnie Darko? This is how life is. Time is not linear. The white rabbit is time. And the white rabbit comes and tells you something. And then the white rabbit lets you experience this. And then you can go back in time. You can go forward in time. There's something about time. Oh, it's you. You're holder of time. You're the white rabbit. Okay, so on Alice in Wonderland, the white rabbit's always holding a little tick-tock clock. White rabbit has 11 letters, and it represents the keeper of time, time itself. And everybody is dominated by this clock, which is an eye, which is time. Which is why a clock is usually white with a little black nose in the center. It represents time. The 2 towers of the white rabbit's ears represents a 2-tower technology, being trapped in 2 towers of time. And you're not. But everybody else around here is, especially those who are stuck by the written word. So you are the keeper of time. You're the center of the cross. But what is your name, I wonder? So if you're the keeper of time, you're not the keeper of keys. You're the keeper of clocks and time. There is a clock right here. And it has a face on it like this. And it's a tower. Sorry, but I see an archon in there. I don't know what's in that tower. It's a tower of time that has archons. They look like this. So there is a beautiful goose, like a mother goose looking energy. And there's a Saturn energy. So you have a lot of birds. You had a peacock right here that I didn't bring out. Oh. Okay. Osiris was put into a box and put underwater. And these symbols reflect time, a time. So when you see a box that looks like this, what you're dealing with is YAM. Yam is the I am. And Yam is the god of the waters of chaos. And it is a tower, but towers are boxes. And this God is a God of child sacrifice. He sacrificed his own son. When you're in this reality, you are in the place of suffering. You're in a box of suffering. You're in a reality of suffering. So Osiris's body was cut 14 times. So there were pieces of himself in the lower world and the upper world. There were 7 for him, 7 for her. So this reflects that there were pieces in the lower world and pieces in the upper world. What does that mean? It means that there's a possibility that we've died many times, and that the pieces of ourselves that were left in those towers or timelines have to be recapitulated and brought back together, like Isis was looking for the 14 pieces of Osiris. And in order to get those 14 pieces back, we have to transcend the lower world and go to the upper world, and we have to recapitulate in the past, the present. There's a whole thing about this, about recapitulation, where shamanism is about collecting the power that we left through time. So something about you being time. So we know that we live on a realm of either one of these because we are on 7 continents, 7 seas, 7 days in a week, 7 chakras, 7 wounds of Christ, 7 spirits of God, 7 trumpets, 7 seals, 7 deadly sins, 7 wonders of the world, 7 metals, 7 musical notes, and 7 heavens, and 7 curses of Cain. And so when you get out of the lower world, you go to the upper world, and there's still more pieces to be brought back together. But when you come above water, a box opens up, and when a box opens up, it turns into a cross. This means that the 2 worlds must be balanced through water and earth, and then air and fire. So when you get out of the water, the box comes out of the water, you have balanced the 7, you have activated your 7 chakras through the 7 colors of the rainbow, right? And then you go to the top part, which is air and fire, which is a different God, a different body, a different reality, because your mind now has the ability to reach a divine plane, not just the earthly plane. And so the box opens. When this box opens, and then you learn to balance air and fire element, which is an understanding, which is knowledge, then the gates open and flood out truths that we were kept hidden from underwater. It's the same story as Dorothy walked the yellow brick road, like a spiral, like water. And then she had to go up to the eye of the needle. Looks like a rabbit, does it not? There's a little nose right there. There's a little eye right there. And the land of Oz goes to the land of Iris, the goddess of the rainbow, or the eye. And it is Osiris. So once you get to Iris, you fly like a pretty little bluebird because you have the ability to bounce your consciousness out of the 2-tower system, which is like a sound or a frequency manipulation over our mind. So what we do is we leave the God of suffering and we go to the God of freedom and power through knowledge. And they say that ignorance is death, knowledge is life. So we really get into life energy up here. Who you are seems to be the center of the cross, stuck in the eye of the needle. And I don't mean stuck, I just mean that you are a master of the net. And they're called Jedi Masters. They're called Skywalkers. And the people who are stuck in the tower, who control time itself, can be jerks. The God of suffering, the God of child sacrifice, the archons. But to not be in the tower of the male tower, this is a tower, is good. You're not going to suffer. To not be in this tower, probably good. I don't know, there's Saturn there. To be not in this tower is good. The White Rabbit says, if you want out of the tower, you have to become an oracle. Why? Because an oracle can hear God and do the will of God and and cannot be trapped because they can hear it with their ears. So this person doesn't have an ear. If they're in the electricity, they're Lucifer. They're following Lucifer. They're following death, sacrifice, suffering. And you are looking at somebody who's stuck, and you have the little 3 rings, that this little symbol right here on your chest, right there. And you know what that is? That's this. It's called the Triketra. And so the Triketra is, when you get your 3 rings of power, it is protons, neutrons, electrons. Electrons live forever. And then guess what? There's your little white rabbit. Boing, boing. There's your rabbit ears. It's called a Triketra. It's a white rabbit. And the white rabbit is, you're the one, Neo, who needs your Trinity. But you got to follow the white rabbit. Oh, what? And then suddenly you're not in the fish under here. You're not stuck in time by the fish. You are in Aquarius, but it's a place of called a Trinity, and it's eternal life. Why you're always in the eye of the needle is, I think, that you cannot be polarized here, or here. The eye of the needle is every single day doing the will of your higher self and not being polarized. And the eye of the needle is, I am nothing and yet everything. I'm no one and yet everyone. I am not arrogant. I am not jealous. I am not angry. I am not triggered. I don't have low self-worth. I don't have self-importance. I am not polarized by the written word. I actually hear the unwritten word of my higher self. I'm not going to judge that word. I'm going to balance my humanity with my spirituality. I'm not going to be too spiritual. I'm not going to be too human. I'm going to maintain my 0 point energy with joy and the heart of a child. And somehow you are a master of the net that is connected to a goose and Mother Mary and some very beautiful, delicate energy here. Very, very beautiful cross, box, time. Very interesting to me. And if you really look at it, you're still, and the net is everywhere around you. Look at it. And you're not being trapped by the net. And he has the letter X over his chest right there. That's an X. 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 If you're stuck in an X, you're stuck in time, which is the rabbit, which is the 2 tower ears. Don't get stuck in the white rabbit. You can follow the white rabbit to the rabbit hole, but don't get stuck in the trap of this X, because it will put you in a tower that is not in your favor. But somehow you're the goddess of the 2 towers, or you're the goddess of the 3rd tower. You're the goddess of someone who isn't trapped by the net. Let me show you what the masters of the net are in Egypt. And they actually hold a net up, a literal net, to show what, and they are immortal, and they have secrets, and they have secret initiations. And if you're part of that master of the net group, then there's things that you have to go through to get to actually be free from the 2 tower Luciferian system. So Jehuti is Toth, and Ibis is the Ibis is the headed netter. Oh, maybe you're it, Ibis. It's the netter, and it's called the Neter. And so I'm already. See if I can find an article where they're not going to make me go through all these hoops. Where I don't have to get caught in the net of their hoops. So it's really something that you have to watch. It's called The Master of the Net, and there's pictures of it. Let's see if I can find pictures so you can see what they look like with the net. So the net technology is very detailed. Is this the net? See, it's such a secret thing. It's so secret. So all right, here it is. Oh, they're going to make you try to watch it. It's definitely a show on Gaia. And it gets you into sacred geometry. Basically, they believed, here's how they said, if you don't know the 5 platonic solids and what their names are and what their numerology is connected to them and what the 4 elements, which is why you have this symbol over you with a net symbol, which is, this represents the 4 main elements, earth, air, fire, and water. If you don't know the platonic solids and you don't understand sacred geometry and how to have thought forms of God, they don't allow you in their group. Because the masters of the net had to have been at a certain spiritual adepthood in order to handle the frequency of their teachings. Because our frequency has to be 0 point energy in order to be able to handle it and to be able to move our lives through these teachings and to be able to not only think thought forms of God or godly thought forms, but to transcend earth-like thought forms. So oftentimes we think about this world, but they want us to actually envision an icosahedron or a dodecahedron or a tetrahedron over our head, because these will actually activate like a key something in your life. Behind every pleasure and every pain is a sacred geometrical shape. Any human can change the material reality by envisioning sacred geometry over their body, over their reality, over any person or place. But you can't actually do anything unless you have 3 rings of power. If you only have 2 rings of power, you could think about these shapes all day long and it won't do anything. But the master of the net, they only allow initiates who have learned to maintain 0 point energy, transmute the negativities and the distractions of this world, and to be able to be in the eye of the needle, collect personal power through doing the will of the Holy Spirit or your higher self, and hear that voice and become an oracle, and then be implementers of making a better world by using your mind for higher purposes. And the initiations are pretty strict because they don't allow, it's not because they don't like humans being human. It's because this world is designed to feed off of your power so that you lose your 3rd ring, and then you lose your magnetism, and then you lose your ability to use your thoughts in a powerful way. I don't know how to explain it any more than that. But the initiates of the net transcend the 7 archons who rule the 7 heavens. They are Jedis. And Jedis are not sleepwalkers tethered to the written word. They are skywalkers who hear the unwritten word And they do not get caught in the net by those who are polarized by the written word. I don't know exactly what your name would be if you were like a goddess, but it is an Egyptian concept that is connected to a goose. So let me look and see if I can find something for you. I'm not sure I can because this is a very secret group. Only Gaia brought it forward for a minute, and nobody else really talks about it, but you can see pictures of it. And it's a white goose, by the way. I don't want to hear Reddit. So Aphrodite is one. I don't get Aphrodite vibes from you. So the goose is the universal soul or the supreme spirit. So it is it's the supreme spirit of all spirits. The ancient goose goddess, there's a folk tale about the ancient goose goddess. But I want some kind of parallel about how you are connected to. So Frigg, but that's Norse mythology. Frigg, or Frigga, is the goddess of motherhood, fertility, family, and marriage. Married to Odin. Oh, then you'd be married to my husband. My husband, I saw him as he was Odin. The queen of Aesir. Warrior gods of the skies. Peace, comfort, and peace. That vibes because you have this piece with the white color here. She is a seer. She's someone who can see the future, but she doesn't have the ability to change it. She saw the death of her own son. That's strange because I did see a boy here with the Archon. Floki was the trickster god. He was a jerk. And the funny thing is, right here I saw a fly. Floki is known as the fly. So her sacred animal is the goose, and she's affectionately known as the first mother goose. And she gave birth on New Year's Eve night, called Mother Night. So she turned to the goddess Frigg to help them with fertility. So she's about peace and calmness. She reigned over Asgard. She was swept away by the clouds. She's responsible for the rain, the sun, and the fertility of crops. Her symbols include moon, sky, spinning wheel, spindle, and mistletoe. Spinning wheel. This wheel. She's the moon, the sky, the spinning wheel, and the spindle. Definitely. Even here, it's a spindle. Here. Help to keep peace among the gods. You got peace. That was your symbol. I definitely feel like that this is connected to you. Now, Norse mythology can parallel with Egyptian mythology and Greek mythology. They just have different names. So Frigg may be like Isis or Mary Magdalene. But this one, I like the explanation of her as the mother goose because the word peace is repeated, and it seems to be more whimsical, and I love how they describe her with how she seems to be the queen of the air, but it says a queen of Aesir, which has the word air in it, which is a warrior god of the skies, which represents somebody who isn't tethered to gravity, which means someone who is not bound by the net. So there is something. Now, she is a sorcerer and a seer. Whenever you see somebody with their eyes closed, it's someone who is a seer. They can see and hear the voice of God. This dude's eyes are open. He's always looking outside of himself for answers. Is it in the book? Oh, it's not in the book. It's not in the written word. It can't be true. No. You can't just make things up. You can't just say it's true just because you say it's true. I know. We as seers know this. We know we look for synchronicity. We look for repetitive patterns. We look for divine timing. We look for that exact feeling in our heart. We become confident with the invisible word of God, and you don't. So we don't get stuck in your tower. We don't get stuck in your net. So it's a fantastic read. I think that I am not completely sold that you're Frigg, or that you are mirroring Frigg, because that white rabbit is like Alice in Wonderland's, and the white rabbit is time. And Frigg is not the master of time, although she is holding a wheel, and Frigg is always holding a wheel, and you're holding a wheel. But I'm not sold on it 100%. I just want us to think about it, and what we do, this is how it works. When the invisible ones come forward to tell you that you're the master of elements and time and the rabbit, and you are not tethered to all these other things, you may parallel with Frigg, but you may parallel with somebody else. What I do is I wait for Spirit to tell me. So after your reading, I will wait for Spirit to tell me, and I'll make your video. I'll make a 10-minute video for you to help you, to hear your higher self instead of from me, right? So Carol, thank you so much for your reading. We're going to close out for now. And thank you so much. Thank you. Notice how you're kind of small and everything else is big. We are, in a certain way, letting go of so much that we're looking around and going, what now? Like, what now? I don't have sadness. I don't have anger. What now? Gonna go make a garden. Gonna go swim. Gonna go enjoy life while I can. And just have peace and remain in that eye of the needle. It seems as if the world is shifting as we maintain that 0 point energy. Like, it's literally shifting. And all we have to do is allow our higher self, which is more powerful than us, and feed our higher self joy, thankfulness, 0 point energy in order to transcend the world of suffering, the world of jerks. Thank you. It was a very beautiful reading. Thank you guys so much. It was a wonderful reading. Yes, it's basically floating between doors and towers. Somebody who isn't tethered to a tower. And in her very first reading, a mind was stuck to a door or a tower. All of these people represent being stuck. But guess who doesn't get stuck? Now, Tinkerbell's stuck because that's the electricity. Who's not stuck? Here. Someone who figured out how to get through an eye of the needle. Have I figured it out? I don't even know. Some days yes, some days no. So, what is your first name? Tren. Is that your first name, Tren? If you would like a reading. Oh, you saw the bridge today from your, oh wow, from her first reading. That's so cool. Thank you. Thank you, John Michael. Thank you. Thank you guys. Did the trend person respond? Hello, Benjamin. How you doing, Benjamin? Thank you. I don't know if I was... you saw your name. Hi, Dawn. Goldie, thank you. April. So the Saturn, what does Saturn represent? Well, Saturn was a jerk for many of us because it represented... Every year we celebrate Christmas, and it represented Saturn emits a plasma that looks like an old man, and it was about keeping us in a frequency or a spell, like a Lucifer technology. But once we grow out of time, spiritually speaking, then suddenly, almost as if one side of Saturn is a prison, the other side isn't, Saturn becomes the lord of the golden age of Aquarius and the bringer of happiness, joy, and eternal spring. It is the seventh highest heaven. So it's actually a very good symbol, but for those who are stuck under it or stuck in a certain frequency, I'm not sure if it will release them. I don't know. But I do know that Saturn was the original sun. The original Son of God, I guess you could say. The return of Christ. The return of everlasting life or eternal spring. Well, they say that we were asleep, cosmically asleep for 5,600 years. And we just entered 5,600 years of being awoken. So this is part called the eternal spring of the age of Aquarius. So it's a wonderful symbol for some, if not all. I don't know. Yeah. All right, so let's see here. Let me look at your names, darlings. What? Love you too, babies. Thank you. Ah ha ha. All right. So I'm gonna read for one of you guys. Let me look. Make sure I haven't already read from you. Do geometrical shapes actually work when imagined? I don't know. I've done it. I've thought it. I've imagined it. Did it work? They say it does. Masters say it does. But there's rules to it. Like you have to have a certain amount of power and you have to... You're not just... Here's how it works. Your physical body is imagining something. Your higher self sees it. You're sending your higher self a telepathic thought. Your higher self takes over, not you. You have an invisible higher self. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So I'm gonna pick a name now. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Ah ha ha. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Rachel. Yes. So, I love you guys. My bebes. I love you. I love you. Let's do Benjamin Button Garrett real quick. Garrett. And then we'll go with somebody else. So Garrett. Garrett. I didn't know what day it was when you walked into the room. I said hello, I noticed you said goodbye too soon. You're in my heart, you're in my soul. You'll be my breath should I grow old. You are my lover, you're my best friend. You're in my soul. You're in the Mad Hatter phase. You have a female stuck up there in the Mad Hatter phase. This is you connecting with your divine feminine self. We in the flesh are considered male, scientifically, spiritually. You're electric. You are electric. You are an electric being. You're considered male. Your divine feminine is your invisible self talking to you. And your invisible self is a female up here saying, hey, I'm the power behind your flesh. You're electricity. I'm magnetism. I'm going to put you through a celestial school. So you're a carrier of a very pointy sword here for some reason. I don't know why. And so your higher self is up here teaching you and says, as you learn, your hat gets bigger and bigger and bigger and taller until one day the top of your hat turns into a tetrahedron, which represents fire of the Holy Spirit, which represents the number 4, which represents the cross, which represents balance of the 4 elements, which represents that you are balanced flesh and spirit going through a divine marriage. You are currently in a celestial school, and there is like a pinpoint over here at the cross here, and so you are you're a keeper. You are. I mean, I'm going to give you a temporary answer here. So it literally says seer, and then you're behind a wall. And there's a lion up here. And you're wearing like a sachet. And lots of strange looking crosses and this symbol. I don't know if somebody lost a baby in your family. Definitely there's a little baby here. Whenever I see a baby upside down, it's somebody like a child, a lost child. So whenever I see, and I know this now for a fact, whenever I see a triceratops, you're being contacted by the Lemurians. And they are real. And they come like a thief in the night, and you're being trained spiritually to become their keeper of a gate. You have these bald-headed people, they look Buddha-like, and they're wearing these cloaks over their heads. They don't have any hair. Eastern spirit that's like Eastern, and then like a very, very tall hat like this, but it's like a tower, but it's not. It's like some kind of Eastern imagery or beings that are coming forward, and then a symbol like this, and then a circle in the center. And why are you behind this wall, and what is this exactly? So there's a mummy. there is a god, very furry face, a crown that's very interesting. Very interesting. Furry face. Fuzzy face. Tall hat. You're a keeper of the gate. I know what that body language is. You're a keeper of the gate. You look forward in time, do not enter. You look in the past, do not enter. Somebody who is not allowed to enter, these beings go back in time and make sure that you don't enter, and they go into the future and make sure you don't enter. They're like, I don't know what they do, but they represent a bridge of time. So this hand is actually a doorway. So you open the door here, it's a place. So their mind goes back in time and is able to mess with us, future, past, everything, to make sure that people don't go past this reality for some reason. Then here's the future. It's a doorway. And your body is a doorway. And you're like, this is a bridge of sorts, like a rainbow bridge. But you're a bearded, fuzzy bearded man with a very strange crown and a very tall hat. And you're connected to some sort of gown that is like Lemurian, or I don't know, like some kind of strange thing. I don't know yet. We'll see. But I will tell you that these bearded men, they seem to be elemental, almost like cloud people or something like that. And so you're pointing the sword at this doorway and you're looking down. Okay, let me show you something. Look at the picture of this Lemurian being. When you look far away, these look like two eyes, and that looks like the mouth. This looks like a triceratops. This is a picture of the Lemurians. They look like a triceratops. They are keepers. They are gatekeepers. They look like bearded men also. And I don't know exactly how they shapeshift. See, here's another one. They literally have hair like this. And it scraggles out this way. Fuzz, 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 fuzz. See that? This, like this. And then this one, much longer beard. He's carrying a rose. It's like Hebrew language. It's like some kind of weird language that goes like this. Zip, zip. Zip, zip. Like that. And, there's a technology and there's a reality, and it's a numerology, and it keeps a reality in place. Then there's a head that floats out of this, like Mimir. Oh, you're connected to Mimir, but it's a story of Mimir. See, this was a water, and there were people in here. It was a reality, and the head floated out of the water and was able to talk and live forever, which is Mimir. But what does this have to do with Egypt and with these dudes? Let me just tell you who Mimir is. And the story of Mimir as an allegory is Odin represented a 2-tower system. So Odin is fire with this symbol. His beard makes water. It's somebody whose mind is trapped in a 2-tower system. All right? So here you have this hat and beard like a wizard, right? But it's not a hat and beard. It is fire and water. It's 2 towers. Then Odin is holding the well. And this is the water of a prison. All right? And the 2 ravens, or the 2 birds on each side, represents 2 towers. 2-tower prison. All right. Now, Mimir is kind of a gross story, but it's a story of someone who became an oracle. And the story is that Mimir came out of the waters of chaos, came out of a prison, and was able to live forever. Now, they did cut his head off like John the Baptist, but it is an allegory that when your head is floating out of the waters, your consciousness can go anywhere and into any body. You do not lose memory. You leave your body behind, and you have the ability to go and do anything. Because you're an oracle, you are not tethered to time, to water, to all that. So because Mimir, which is like my mirror, and look, he's holding a mirror. He's holding a mirror. That's a mirror, and there's somebody in there. It's a mother with 2 children. That's a mirror. That's the water. This is, maybe you need to look into Mimir a little bit more, but anyway, my mirror, Mimir, was able to hear God. And because he was so important, they made him immortal. And so this is the story for you. If you want to defeat this and the 2-tower system, 1, 2, the 2 birds, cloning, high-tech cloning system, you have to get above this wall, you have to be Mimir, an oracle. Oracle is the only one who escapes it. Then the Lemurians see you as an oracle, and they bring you into their celestial school, and then you become a keeper of the gates and a seer, connected to the gatekeepers and the judges and all these people called the lions. And then you end up stepping into a place that is above water. So he's holding a mirror. You are Mimir. But I don't know a lot about Mimir. I don't know his like personal written word story of Mimir. I never even thought of Mimir as being looking like they're from Armenia or Iraq. They look like the Zoroastrianism whirling dervish people with their hats. It seems to be connected to Sumeria. It's an ancient Sumerian lineage. So when you read about Mimir, don't get grossed out, okay? First of all, look at it as an allegory. So he was the wisest of the gods of the tribe of Asir. Again, we have Asir. That's just like our last reading. He was believed to be a water spirit. So there's water. Mimir was sent by Asir as a hostage of the rival gods. Vanir. Oh, look, it's a bearded man. With white beard. Very similar. Very, very similar. Right there. Very similar to what we're seeing here. He was decapitated and his head was returned to Asir. So the god Odin preserved the head in herbs and gained knowledge from it. According to another story, Mimir resided by a well that stood beneath one of the roots of the world tree. That well, sometimes called Mimibrunir, contained one of Odin's eyes, which Odin had pledged in order to drink from the waters and receive wisdom. I don't know why it's not letting me scroll down. Hold on. What is it doing here? Go away. Can I page down? Try refreshing the page. It's not letting me. Oh. What does that mean? I don't know what's going on with my computer. Anyway. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's letting me go down now. Let's find other pictures. Okay. So, this is a story of an allegory only. And basically, in the end, he was able to live forever. He spoke charms over the head, and then he was able to reveal secrets. The head of Mimir is again mentioned in connection to Odin and how the gods want Mimir to stay alive because he knows things that the other beings want to know. They find him valuable, and so they want to keep him alive. And even though it makes it seem like they turn him into a talking dead person or a robot, it's not. It's really about the allegory of going through a deathless death and becoming the oracle that can hear God. Once you become an oracle or a seer and you hear God, you are allowed to advance to a higher realm or reality where your energy is able to handle the frequency or the energy of the immortal ones. So basically it's saying that you are a seer, you are being groomed by your higher self, but also other beings outside of yourself so that you can become a keeper of the gate. And according to this, you are very connected to Mimir and the Sumerians. And there seems to be that you had a life in Egypt, and there's somebody who's in a tomb with some language that looks Hebrew. I would have to look up this number. Did we see a number here? Oh, yeah. It is 2384 or 4832. I'll look it up for you. Something about a twin soul after being born, a twin soul. There are deeper levels of reality and of our mind if we really try. Golden ratio trumpet in sound wave harmonics is successful in our turning point. Golden ratio trumpet sound wave harmonics. Interesting. Okay, let me try 2384. Or is it 23841? Oh, whoa. Where the wild things are, 2 wings of a great eagle, vanity and wrath, upside down world. There's some things on here I can't say, but there's something about judgment. There's something about condemned to hell, Sophia. All thefts of names are operations by Sophia and are condemned to hell. I don't believe in any of that. What I see is a story of your life. You have pieces of yourself in Egypt. You have pieces of yourself in Samaria. You are a seer. You're connected to Mimir and Odin and Norse mythology. You have a very wise lineage. And if these are pieces of yourself in the past, then you as a rainbow bridge of the future and the past must recapitulate these pieces like the 14 pieces of Osiris's body. In order to collect these pieces, you will do breathing techniques, and you will you really should get the book The Sorcerer's Crossing, and really investigate the Sumerians and the whirling dervishes who wear these tall hats. Really connect to Mimir, really connect to Egypt, really connect to these Eastern religions, and just kind of feel your way with them, because somehow you need to recapitulate all of this in order to bring it up here so that it's not here anymore. So what I do is I just send an image of my higher self going back in time to all the pieces of myself that is trapped in different timelines, and bring those pieces to myself, because once these pieces come back to you, you'll become the oracle, you'll become the rainbow bridge, you will receive the power back from pieces in Egypt, you will be a man with a long white beard holding a mirror, holding a rose. And then you're holding this sword, and the sword is going into the halls of the future here. So this is saying, I'm from the future. This is your past. This is your future. And it almost does remind me of Osiris's pieces were past, future. So He had 7 pieces in the past, 7 pieces in the future, and there's a technology of Isis having to come and get all of those pieces back together again in order to open the cross and bring Osiris back to his throne, right? So what I'm saying is the potential of who you are can be brought back into its unification and everything, but you're in a school right now learning this. And this school is teaching you that you have many parallel lifetimes happening all at once. So there's you in a tomb, you as a whirling dervish, you who has the ability to go into the past and the future, you as Mimir. Seems like Mimir is here and Mimir is here. And then suddenly, this is like a book, and you're behind a wall. And then suddenly, there's this Eastern goddess with no hair here. There's Lemurians. There's you. And a lion. And I guess you have to consider if you need to talk to your higher self about what this means, because it's pretty fantastic, especially considering the body language of this is pretty. Now it says A. Oh, it's the OA. Oh. The OA is an ancient secret group about traveling through time and becoming the babe of the abyss and crossing the threshold and having immortality and being an initiate of many things. And let me look up Ao. I think Ao is the name of a god, though. Lord Ao was the overgod of the worlds of balance, showing aspects of extreme. Yeah, doesn't that look like balance to you? Showing aspects of extreme. It was a luminous being. They are elemental gods. They don't have worshipers. They don't want you to know their names. They don't have a name. They're elemental gods. Well, that's why there's a cross here. This cross represents the 4 elements. It is an elemental god. So it's connected to the god El. So think of El Shaddai, Elohim, elements, Aleph, electricity, 11, the Elvins. And so electrons, they're scientific, they're elemental, they're about balance, they're about water and many things, but it's an ancient lineage. So just be aware that you have parallel lives, and I believe that you can tap into these parallel lives and make them become aware of each other somehow. I don't know, especially your adept one, and bring those things back to you, or they bring you back to them. I don't know how it works. I wouldn't dare say that I know. I just want you to know that the lion and the triceratops is part of your higher self. I would have to say that this represents electricity there. And I don't see very many females except for the little one up here. And I would have to say, if there's anything I could tell you about your physical self, Seek first the kingdom of God within you. What is the purpose of the Holy Spirit of truth if all of our answers come from a book? Yes, you do have parallel lifetimes. No, it cannot be proven. Yes, your higher self will speak to you and put you in a celestial school. Don't seek first the kingdom of a lower world. Seek first to balance yourself and allow the divine marriage of flesh and spirit must absolutely be balanced within you, because only becoming a seer will help you become this place. And I don't know exactly where you are now. I know this is your past for sure. And then this was your now self. However, your now self is looking back. And if you're going to look back, you're going to only do it. Take these pieces of yourself and balance them and clean it. All the power you left behind in all these timelines. Bring it back. And then suddenly you'll grow the female, which is your magnetism. Maybe a communication to definitely seek first higher thought forms, for sure. I don't see that you're in a bad place. I see that you will be traveling into the future, possibly the past, to do things besides healing yourself. Once you become spiritually invisible, it's not going to be about you anymore. You're going to travel because your higher self wants you to do the will of God and to do great things. It gets complicated from there. Yes, see, now for those of you who are really growing yourself spiritually, your job is to take what is evil and turn it into good. Death, turn it into life. Getting your head cut off, give him a body. Here, let's give Mimir a body. Here you go, Mimir. Here's your body. It's a cross. Balance. You now have the power to turn evil into good. Do not turn good into evil. Do not take some jerk and say, oh my gosh, look what a jerk. Look what a jerk this is. Look at these politicians, what a jerk. Look at this world, what a jerk. All you're doing is perpetuating and making it worse. That's seeking first the kingdom of hell and the lower world. Seek first the kingdom of God. Take what is evil and speak it into good. Actually create it into good. If you're seeing, anything, you can take what's evil and turn it into good. That's now your power. You're not down here. You're in a place where you can take what's bad in your life and turn it into good through your actions, especially. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Clean your house, clean your car, clean your emotions, clean your mind, clean your relationships, clean your diet. And then this cleanliness will suddenly make you think about higher thought forms, and then suddenly you are doing things that you never thought possible through that process. Take a picture of it, mirror it, and do whatever you feel like you need to do, but it is the Lemurians who are really affecting you. And I don't know who is the lion people, but it may be the Lion's Gate, which is August 8th, connected to the number 8. But that's God, his name is Ao, but also called Oa. And this is called the crosser of a threshold. So it's kind of ancient, kind of secret. Not sure you're going to be able to find it in the written word. Yeah. Oh, the Lyrans. Oh, let me look up the Lyrans. Thank you, Opal Star. The Lyrans. I never really looked them up. Lyrans. Starseed. Oh, they are lions. Oh, yes. You look like this. They're the Lyrans. I never heard of it. Okay, let me see here. They're outgoing individuals who long for adventure. They're in touch with their creative side and usually exhibit excellent leadership skills. They have distinct personalities, especially compared with other types of starseed. They are undoubtedly some of the most confident and outgoing people. Their mission is to help mankind and pass on their knowledge and wisdom. Yeah, look, knowledge passed on, bam. Knowledge passed on, bam. Knowledge passed on, bam. Knowledge passed on, bam. Yeah, I definitely see that. They fully understand the difficulty of the battle between the soul and the ego, and they usually impart their wisdom to earthlings wherever they can. They spent several incarnations on one of the planets of the constellation Lyra. The soul from Lyra is sometimes referred to as the Vegan or the Vega. Hey, I wonder if it's that star right there. That's that star. These are from the Lyra constellation. Significant mythologies about the divine masculine. So there is a male there. They are connected to very powerful public figures like William Shakespeare, Elon Musk, Bill Clinton are Lyrans. So this is why you have very powerful people down there. They're very powerful people. They're said to be amongst the oldest beings in existence. Very old beings, very old. What is our most ancient culture? Isn't it Sumerians? That's what the whirling dervish, Sumerian type of thing, definitely. Even the Norse mythology. Now I want to look at the images again and see if I can see that star, because that would be amazing. Yes. There's a star there. It's not that exact star. Because if that is a star connected to your kind of people, I'd be like so amazed. Oh, they're like cat people. Oh, there they are right there. They're cat people right here with the Egyptians. That's why we see cats. I never even correlated that the reason I see cats in y'all's reading is because you are a Lyran starseed. I didn't know. So look, Lyran starseed has these stars and that cross right there with a triangle that goes down. What? Well, anyway, look into it because the symbol looks like a circle, and then bam, 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 and bam, and it may have a circle around it like that, but it's like a circle and then bam, 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 like kind of like that. It's this. It's a circle, bam, 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 and it seems like it shoots out like this, and then it shoots out like this, like it moves. So it goes like this, and it goes like this, like that. Interesting. Meow. Yeah, it's the North Star, but it's show you. So there is a star that represents sonic waves or seismic waves or frequency, and it manipulates the collective consciousness. It is about seismic energy. It is about frequency. It's about realities being created from sound. So its words are frequency, and it gets you into cymatics. So, let me see here. I believe it's called a cymatic star. And this is very loosely me saying this. Very, very loose. It's a star that creates reality itself. So let me see if I can find it in here. Anyway, if reality is governed by sound, Saul, hush. That sound and the sound wave of that star is important because what it does is it moves. It spins. It's almost like it goes like this. It goes around in a circle like this. Like you're like a disc. Like here. And it spins. It creates vortexes. It creates reality itself. It's a technology, really. It's kind of like that, but it's not. It's kind of like that. See, this is like the North Star, but this I'll have to look into it because I know I've seen it before, and it is connected to frequency. It's connected to something that creates reality. Oh, somebody says Hunabku. Let me look that up. Hunabku. Hunabku. This is cymatics, sound, and how sound creates reality. Oh, thank you for that. This is cool. Yeah, which ultimately creates a star. Interesting. Anyway, it's don't think that the symbols in this thing that looks elementary, that it's silly, like, oh, well, that's just a cross. No, it's probably Cygnus star system. It is about the balance. This is a reality called the balancer of the elements. It is very important. All of the symbols in here is very important. The brim of the hat reflecting Saturn. All of these symbols really could be reflective of not physical attributes, but planets. Like this could be Orion's belt. That could be Orion's belt. This could be a sword in the sky. That could be you could be a planet. The sword that you're holding could be the man holding the sword in the stars. I mean, it is possible. So who's holding a sword in the stars? So Orion's sword is what it's called. It's called Orion's sword. So Orion's sword is a compact asterism in the constellation Orion. And so when you're looking at these pictures, this is about Orion's belt, Orion's sword. Why is it important? I have no idea. I guess if you are into tarot cards and whatnot, I'm sure it has a meaning. It is the Hunter of Orion. Let's read about the Hunter of Orion. Orion was born of Poseidon, brother of Zeus and god of the sea. He stood head and shoulders above any man. Ahaha, you are standing head and shoulders above any man. And was by all accounts the greatest hunter who ever lived. Permanently armed with his unbreakable bronze club and his great bow, his quarry could never escape from his almighty strength and his quick, sharp mind. The spiritual meaning of it is mind strength. This is about the strength of your mind. Perseverance, the ability to get things done. Seeing him in the sky encourages you to stay motivated to achieve your goals. So, yeah, it's all about the mind. This is why the female is in the mind here. This is a mental game for you in this reality. Everything is about dominating the mind. Tall hat. So these symbols are emanations. There will be an emanation from your physical perspective. Then it will emanate to your past and your future. It will emanate to the gods. It will emanate to different realities, depending on when and how you're looking at it. Think not that these symbols are just silly and mean nothing. Even the tiniest symbol, very tiniest, can have the most impactful subconscious impact on you that will bring it into your conscious mind. It could very much, Jeremy. I'm going to pin your comment for everybody to see. Jeremy says, does it connect to the Lion of Judah, to the constellation Leo, which would be the 144,000. I'm looking in here to see if I can see the 144,000. Well, yes, absolutely, Jeremy. The rose in alchemy represents the 144,000. It's called the 144,000 rose. He's holding a rose. Okay, so the rose represents your DNA and the activation and the 144,000. Absolutely, and thank you for that. So let me show you how the rose represents the 144,000. And I didn't even think about that because I don't know anything about it. Why do I allow myself to be a little bit ignorant and not, like a tarot card reader and not into astrology or astronomy? Because I like things to come out organically and not to every time I read for you guys, my portfolio in my mind gets upgraded anyway, but so the rose represents the perfection of man. and it represents the flower of life. And the flower of life is the rose. So maybe I should put alchemy here, because the religious ones are coming out with, oh, you mean this? You mean that in Revelation? No, this is alchemical. No. See, it says 144,000 roses. The rose oracle of the heart, rose alchemy. Yeah, let me just show you my alchemy book. When you see a rose, actually, yeah. Where's my other alchemy book? It'll have a picture of the rose, and it'll show you. Yes, you're absolutely right. It is about leading the 144,000 out of Judah. It's like, whoa. Gotta find the rose in here. There it is. No, that's not it. That's something else. There's the rose. A 144 petaled rose. And this is why Mother Mary is represented as the rose. Alchemy rose. It is the petals of the rose. It opens up. So there are 144,000 incarnate twin flames that light up all 7 chakras. And this represents that these flames are called the 12 times 12 equals 144, the 12 lost tribes, plus the 12 apostles, and, I said impossibles, apostles. And anyway, it is connected to the rose. Rose flowers are the 144,000. Notice they are represented by petals on a rose. So there is a man who looks really old holding a rose. So you're absolutely right. Thank you for that. And you see how a little tiny rose right here, little tiny one, changes the whole story. So if this is about Leo and Judah and all this stuff, yes, it's all of it. It's incredible. That's how God is about symbology. The burning bush and all these symbols that we see are very important. They're very significant. Thank you. Thank you for all you guys started sending me roses. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, I have a friend over and I need to go ahead and go. Thank you for being here. I will be back here tomorrow. Big hugs. Get into scrying yourself. Get into alchemy. Get into symbolism and numerology. And just realize that you have a higher self that talks to you. You can send your higher self messages. And you can transcend a world of suffering into a world of hope and faith and love and joy. And just don't get stuck. Don't get stuck in the traps. Spinning around in the color red in a world that is limiting your potential. You're meant to do something great, okay? And part of doing something great is learning how to use your mind. And that's exactly what we learned in this reading today. And so hopefully this helped you and hopefully it vibed with you. Don't believe everything I say, though. You should not be tethered to words outside of yourself. You should always listen to your higher self within you. So thank you for being here, and thank you for all the gifts. Love you guys. It says, look up 3248 angel number, celebrate the 4th. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, love you too, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.